Welcome to Football with Cheese. So we are continuing the draft recap, 6 down, 2 to go. Today we're doing the AFC East. And on Monday, look out for my NFC East video, followed by on Tuesday where I kind of wrap the draft up, just some observations, maybe some little known nuggets about some of the players picked, who may have tried to trade up, stuff that you probably haven't heard in the media. Just been doing a lot of research, just absolutely love the draft. If you are a regular channel, you know that. Big emphasis on the draft here. And I do cover all 32 teams, so make sure you share this with anyone who loves football. If you are new to the channel, also subscribe and hit the bell for notification so you never miss one of my videos. So the AFC East, we had two decent, solid drafts. We had one that I absolutely loved, minus one pick, and one that I thought was really, really bad. And they needed to nail it, and they just didn't. We'll leave that team to the end. Let's start with Buffalo. They're one of the teams that I thought, decent, solid, like some of the picks, not so much others. Like their day three more than anything. So they took T.J. Parker, edge Clemson, 35th overall, early second round. They actually traded down 3 times back into the second round. This is not the first time they've done this. Billy Beane likes to get good value in a trade of a team that really wants to move back in the first round and get that fifth-year option. So he's done this before. I was surprised that they did not take either Denzel Boston, wide receiver Washington, or Chase Besantis, guard from Texas A&M, when they were still picking in the first round. They really need a left guard, and they really need another receiver. You have DJ Moore, you have Khalil Shakur, but they needed that more possession receiver, and Keon Coleman has been a bust. I'm wondering if because Coleman has been so terrible and he's a similar style to Denzel Boston that Beane just didn't want to pull the trigger. But, man, that would have been such a good pick. And I'm just not really big on T.J. Parker. No doubt he has top 50 talent, but mid-level production. The good news is his effort was not the issue, not at all. But the bad news is, why wasn't he better? Why wasn't he more productive? I know a lot of Clemson players had down years, but I'm just surprised that Parker didn't get hardly any pressures at all this year. His pressure rate was terrible. I mean, he's got good athleticism, good size, not great either one. There's just nothing spectacular about him. And the fact that he did not have good production just felt like to me he should have gone more in the 50s or 60s. I would have preferred more of a designated pass rusher like R. Mason Thomas or Cassius Howell, if that's where they're going. They wanted to go edge. But a lot of people had him going in the first round. So, it may end up being a good pick. So at pick 62, they actually moved up 4 spots to get him in the second round. Davison Igbinosun, I hope I said that right, cornerback, Ohio State. I think this was definitely their biggest reach in the draft. I thought he'd go late third or maybe even fall into the 4th round. I didn't have him in my top 100 at all, and they traded up to get him. He is much better in man coverage than in zone. He had a lot of penalties in college, but he did get better with that this past year. I just feel like Brandon Beane panicked. There were so many good cornerback prospects came off the board in the second round. And he felt like if we wait till round 3 or 4, we're not going to get a corner that can start for us. Maybe just a special teamer only. So let's go get our guy. Like I said, he's good in man coverage. Bills obviously are moving to more of a man scheme just based on this draft pick. And they didn't have a lot of depth behind Hairston and Benford. I even read that Beane thought this was their biggest need, corner. I disagree. I thought left guard and receiver were bigger needs. So I get it. I just think it was a major reach, and he might have been there a round later. Then they didn't pick again until the 4th round. They took Jude Bowery, tackle/guard, Boston College. He's an athletic tackle, no doubt about it. He has traits. His workout was amazing, so there is some upside. He's very physical. Might fit better at guard. He had an up-and-down Senior Bowl, but maybe can be a swing tackle early in his career and maybe move into guard, eventually start at left guard. I doubt he can start right away. Like I said, he's not a finished product. Real good athlete, not great football player at this point, but pretty solid value here in the 4th round. Then they had a second, 4th round pick. They took Skylar Bell, wide receiver, UConn. He had a breakout year this season. Some people thought he could go in the 3rd round. He had incredible workouts. I didn't watch a lot of UConn, but after that workout, I watched a few games, and he doesn't play to those athletic numbers. He's still a good athlete. I just didn't think he played to what his workout was. I mean, his 40 was 4.40, and his jumps, I think one of them was in the 98th percentile, the other in 99th. So he's very explosive. He's a very good yards after catch guy. We know that the Bills love that. So he has upside. So this is a very good pick for them. Then they had actually back-to-back picks in the fourth round. They had 3 fourth-round picks. Yeah, there we go. Caleb Elam's-Orr, linebacker, TCU. He was a late riser in the process. I heard he could possibly go in the third round. Tested very well. We're noticing that the Bills drafted a lot of guys that tested really well. Maybe didn't always play to it on the field. So clearly Brandon Beane thinks these guys have upside. He's a very fluid linebacker. Not much stiffness in the way he moves, so he could become a starter down the line for the Bills, and linebacker was definitely in need. Then they went Jalen Kilgore, safety, South Carolina. Guess what? He tested incredibly well, didn't always play to it. Yes, we have a theme for the Bills draft. We had him much higher on the board than this. He's 6'2", 210 pounds. Incredible size for a safety. He's got good ball skills. I think this could be an absolute steal. They got 3 guys that had potential to go in the third round. 2 of them went in the fourth, 1 of them went in the fifth in Jalen Kilgore. And then also in the 5th round, they took Zane Durant, defensive tackle, Penn State. He's undersized, so he's a designated interior pass rusher only, but pretty good value here because he's got a quick first step. Bills are now really super deep on the defensive line after this pick. In round 7, they had 3 picks. Toriano Pride Jr., cornerback, Missouri. He's one of those big-time recruits that never played close to as good as he was supposed to. But he did run a 4.32 40, so maybe the Bills can get something out of him. More than likely, he's a gunner in special teams if he does make the roster. And then in their second 7th round pick, they took a punter. Okay, you're drafting a punter, whatever. And then with their third 7th round pick, they took Armaj Reed Adams, guard, Texas A&M. So evaluators were all over the place on him. Bucky Brooks, I believe, had him in his top 5 guards. Might even had him as the 4th best guard in this draft. I saw a couple other analysts that didn't even have him in their top 400, and 257 people got drafted. But worth a shot here, right? End of the 7th round. He will be 25 years old, but he has massive length, and maybe they can turn him into a solid backup at multiple interior positions. Okay, so that is the Bills' solid, not spectacular draft. I like what they did in the middle rounds better than they did early on. Okay, let's do the Jets next, because I absolutely love their draft, minus 1 pick. They started with David Bailey, edge rusher, Texas Tech. I would have taken Alvaro Reese here. I had Alvaro Reese as the best player in the draft. He's more versatile, can play off-ball, can play edge. Just thought he was a weapon. But I get why they took Bailey. He has things you cannot coach. He has one of the best first steps in this class, maybe the best. He's a speed rusher. He is not a finished product. He plays out of control at times, but you cannot coach what he has. He has explosiveness. He has speed. And if he can play a little more disciplined, he has a chance to be one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Maybe not overall edge rushers because he's not a great run defender. But typically guys like him would go outside the top 10, maybe in the 13 to 19 range. But this draft was so weak at the top, and edge rush is so important. So I understand why they took him. I had him the 8th best player. But once again, he has things you cannot coach. Absolutely love their next pick. Kenyon Sadiq, tight end, Oregon. He is incredible after the catch. He's 6'3", 241, and ran a 4.39. That is so unique. You just do not have tight end prospects that can run and move like him. And like we said, unbelievable after the catch. He's got to get better with route running, better playing in space, reading a zone, but he is your F tight end all the way. And he's a willing blocker. Maybe better blocking in space than at the point of attack. He does need to get stronger, no doubt about it. And Mason Taylor, who they drafted in the 2nd round last year, can be your more inline tight end. I love Sadiq. If you're a regular channel, you know I had him in my top 10. I just think he is going to be a matchup nightmare in the NFL for some teams. And the Jets desperately needed weapons, and they got another weapon next with Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver, Indiana. This is about where we had him going. There were rumors that he could go 16th, the Jets. We thought that was way too high. But they traded back in to the 1st round and took him. I would describe him as a bully slot. And what does that mean? That means, well, first of all, that's where he projects in the NFL as a slot receiver. You can't really press him at the line. He's very good at beating press man. And he's so hard to bring down. That's why I say bully slot. His contact balance is amazing. Hard to tackle in the open field. He played really well in the college football playoff. He had a really good workout, better than expected. I think that's what got him in the first round. And like I said, a lot of people thought he could go as high as 16 to the Jets. So when he just fell to pick 30, the Jets moved up. I think it's a great move. And he had some highlight reel catches at Indiana. And here's the thing, that's 3 first-round picks, and they have 3 next year as well. And they still need a quarterback, but we'll talk about that in a second here. Then they took D'Angelo Pons at pick 50 overall. We had him, I think, 32nd or 33 on the board. Absolutely love this pick. Aaron Glenn 2.0, that was the comp for a lot of people, and Aaron Glenn is the coach of the Jets. Both of them play bigger than their size. Both of them are short. That's the thing. D'Angelo Pons has everything. He is very fluid. He's a good tackler. He's instinctive. He just doesn't have the height. He's under 5'9". But I think he can play on the outside, not just in the slot. Some people said, oh, he might only play in the slot. Obviously, he can't cover your 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver, especially on the goal line, because they're just so much taller than him. So his upside is probably as a number 2 or a slot corner. So he'll never be like that shutdown number 1 guy. But I don't care. This is a dude. This is a dude. I love this pick. I would have had no trouble if they had moved back in the first round and taken Pons instead of Cooper Jr. Like, if they'd taken him at 30, I still would have said, that's a pretty good pick. They didn't pick again till the 4th round. They took Darrell Jackson Jr., defensive tackle, Florida State. We really like this pick here at Football with Cheese. We thought he'd go in the 3rd round. He's a great size, strength, run-defending combo. And he's got some pass rush upside, especially he improves his bull rush. He's 6'5.5", 315 pounds with 35-inch arms. The reason he is here, the only reason I can think of, is he's not real quick or super agile. So that might limit his upside. And also, a lot of nose tackles that are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", the last couple drafts just have not worked out. So maybe teams saw that, that's why he fell. But this is a really good value in the 4th round. Then, okay, Jets, what are you thinking here? I did not like this pick at all. I liked every single one of their picks except for this. Cade Klubnik, say that 5 times fast, that name. Cade Klubnik, quarterback Clemson. They took him 110 overall. I honestly thought he'd go 7th round flyer. I just think this was a really dumb pick. In our Lights Out list on the podcast me and Mike do every Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, we did our top 10 drafts. And I put the Jets second. And I put the Cleveland Browns first. If the Jets had nailed this pick, I would have put them first. That's how much I love the draft. But I feel like they wasted this pick. Now, let's talk about Klubnik. God, his name. Players that struggle like him rarely even can play in the NFL at all. He got worse every year. He has decent tools, not great tools, but decent tools to be a starter in the NFL. Good enough arm, good enough athleticism. But he's bad at reading defenses. He does not throw the ball on time with anticipation. His accuracy is all over the place, inconsistent at best. If I'm being nice, I'll say it's inconsistent. And it just feels like Christian Hackenberg 2.0. And any Jets fan knows they used a 2nd round pick on him, and he couldn't play. He just cannot play quarterback. And that's what I think Klubnik is. He's got tools to be a starter in the NFL, but he just sucks at it. So I would have skipped quarterback completely in the NFL draft if I were them, but I like their last 2 picks here. In the 6th round, Anez Cooper, not sure how you say it, guard Miami. He's a high floor guy because he's so strong. That's usually a weakness for most offensive linemen coming in to the NFL is needs to get stronger. But he is already one of the strongest guards in this class, very good run blocker, may never be a good pass blocker, but I think he's a high floor guy because I think at worst he's a pretty good backup. Maybe you bring him in on rundowns as your 6th offensive lineman. Good value here. Then in round 7, they took VJ Payne, safety, Kansas State. This is really good value. I thought he'd go probably in the 5th round, 6th round at worst. He's a good athlete. He tested well. He's got tremendous size and length for the position. He's probably a core special teams player, and maybe he can develop into that 3rd safety role in the box. But I absolutely love this draft, minus Cade Klubnik. Okay, let's do New England next. I want to save Miami for last because I did not like their draft at all. Just like I said with Buffalo, this is a solid, if not spectacular, draft. So in the first round, they traded up for Caleb Lomu, tackle Utah. So Lomu, we had him 21 on the board. So this is really good value for his talent. He looks like a left tackle, moves like one, looks very natural for the position. He has two huge flaws. And the good news, Patriots fans, they're fixable. He's got to get stronger. That was a big issue, his play strength. And he's got to fix his technique. He's very vulnerable counter moves. A lot of times he opened up way too soon. So he can fix his technique and his footwork. He can get stronger. He has an upside of a franchise left tackle. So here's the thing, though. I was trying to figure out why he wasn't a top 20 lock in this draft. Because his flaws are fixable. Some have questioned whether he really loves football. And that could be an issue, but obviously it's not an issue for the Patriots. But if you did not know, some of these guys that just don't love football, they don't maybe put in the time in the offseason or watch enough film. I am not saying Lomu is that at all. I'm just saying some have questioned that, and I think that's why he's here. Because trust me, the Patriots did not think they would get Lomu. In fact, they canceled a visit with him because they thought they had no chance to get him. So this is very good value if he can fix his flaws. And I have to mention this. Patriots claim they're keeping Will Campbell at left tackle. We here at the channel think he could be a Pro Bowl guard. We do not think he can stay at left tackle. So what the Patriots will probably say is, oh, the eventual replacement for Morgan Moses at right tackle. I'm not so sure. I think this is protection against the fact that Will Campbell might not be able to stay at left tackle. Let me know in the comments what you think it is. Do you think Lomu's their future right tackle or their future left tackle? Let me know. Okay, in round 2, they took Gabe Akis, edge Illinois. Very good production in the Big Ten. His workout was better than expected. He gives max effort, so he's definitely a high floor guy. And he's got good play strength for the position. So here at the channel, we just didn't love this pick. I know a lot of people do. Most evaluators are giving the Patriots praise for the value here. But here's the thing. I don't like taking edge rushers on day 2. If you fall out of the first round, there's a reason. Unless you're a designated pass rusher only, you have elite first step, you have elite speed, like a Cassius Hell or Mason Thomas, Romello Height, players like that, no problem. Take them on day 2. I just feel like Akis is a number 3, number 4 type edge because he doesn't have good bend. He doesn't have that quickness. So I just feel like this is a high floor pick. And day 2, I still want a guy with upside. I want someone who's going to be a very good starter, not a solid starter. So I just didn't love this pick, but I get why they made it. In round 3, they went Eli Raridan, tight end Notre Dame. So there were a ton of tight ends taken on day 2. Most of them reaches. I like the value for this one. He's 6'7", over 250 pounds. He was a better blocker than I expected on film. And he showed a lot of improvement as a wide receiver. Also had a really good workout, better than expected. If he can improve his route running, he could develop into a starter. Round 5, Karen Prunty, cornerback Wake Forest. More of a developmental corner. Thought he would go round 7 or priority free agent. But he has the length and he had a good workout. I think a lot of teams were hoping to get him undrafted. Just kind of a project. A little surprised that he went round 5, but I get it because he's got upside. Round 6, they went Demetrius Crownover, tackle Texas A&M. He has the talent and the length to be really good. The traits are there. We love the value for this pick. I would have had him in my top 150, got him 196. Just based on his traits, he should have gone higher than this. However, he had some really bad film. He really struggled in pass protection against some good edge rushers. Just don't watch the Miami game against Ruben Bain. I would probably move him into guard, even though he's got like 35-inch arms, he's got length. I think he just struggles too much as a pass protector. Move him into guard, maybe year 2 or 3 he can develop into a starter. Round 6, Nnamdi Obiazer, linebacker TCU. Another linebacker that's really athletic, but doesn't really have the instincts to stay a starter, but he's a good tackler, probably be a core special teams player. They took Baron Morton, hope I said his first name right, quarterback Texas Tech in the 7th round. Well, they had 3 7th-round picks. Another guy who most teams, I think, were hoping to get undrafted. But 7th rounder, why not? He's had durability issues in his career. Doesn't have any real amazing traits, so his ceiling is probably a solid backup, but worth a flyer in round 7. Just don't watch the Oregon game in the college football playoff. He was very bad. Another 7th-round pick, they took Jamarian Miller, running back, Alabama. These are the kind of running backs that get drafted because he is very good at picking up the blitz. Ran a 4.40. He doesn't really have good vision, doesn't really have good instincts in the open field, but he's a willing pass blocker. So many running backs in college just do not want to pick up the blitz. That 240-pound linebacker running full speed at you, they don't want to do it. And he is willing to do it. So at worst, he's probably your third down back. And then they took Quintavious Hudgens, edge rusher, Tennessee. Not a lot of production, but he's still got a Senior Bowl invite. He has some plays that you watch, you're like, wow, this guy could be a second or third round pick. And then he has times where he disappears and he looks like a guy that is a priority free agent. So there's some splash plays in there, but he has very good bend and probably can play special teams and develop. All right, we have one team left. I did not scroll down, by the way. Here you go. There's those couple guys. We have the Miami Dolphins, and I've talked about the Dolphins a lot. Where am I going here? There we go. I will link on the screen at the end my first round reaction. I'll also link my Caden Proctor moving to guard video that I just recorded. So make sure you check those out if you have not. I will break down Caden Proctor much more in that video, but I did not like the trade down from 11 to 12 taking Proctor at all. It's such a Packers pick. John Eric Sullivan, their GM, comes from the Packers. They will not take the best player on the board because of the position. We only take premium positions in the first round. So we're going to pass on a generational talent like Caleb Downs because he plays safety and doesn't play left tackle. Oh, but then they moved him to guard. And I go over that in the video why I think it's a horrible pick to get two late fifth rounders. We'll talk about those guys here in a second. And I got to mention this. Most Bama offensive linemen have busted over the last decade. So this is a risk to me. We had him 25th on the board because I thought he had to play guard. And guess what? They're already moving him to guard. And we had Caleb Downs second on the board. So you could have taken the second best player in this draft. Instead, you took the 25th best player on our board and got two late fifths. I think it's a terrible move. Overall, this draft is awful. When you are the Dolphins, you just sit there and take the best player on the board because you need everything. And they didn't do it. Regardless of position, you just need talent. Take a Caleb Downs. There are two ways that I would love to draft if I'm a GM. And that's if you need everything and you need nothing. Because either way, you just sit back and take the best player on the board, regardless of position. And the Dolphins did that on maybe 3 of their picks. So this video is just going to take way too long if I just keep bitching about the Dolphins. Once again, check out those other videos to get more on it. Next up, they took Chris Johnson, quarterback, San Diego State. We had him 39th on the board, so we think it's a slight reach, but I heard he was going first round. He's very instinctive, made a ton of plays on the ball, and his speed was questioned. That's why most people thought he was a mid-second round pick, and then he ran well. So after that, pretty much got him into the first round. So it's a solid pick. Thought there were a few better players on the board, but we get it. Really liked their pick, Jacob Rodriguez in the second round, linebacker, Texas Tech. We had him in the 20s, but I think he fell for a few reasons. Off-ball linebackers, just not a premium position anymore, but he is so instinctive. He's good at everything. He's undersized with short arms. He's really good in man coverage. That surprised me. Another reason he may have fallen, same with C.J. Allen to the Colts, we thought he could go in the first round, is we saw Jack Campbell, linebacker for the Lions, not get his fifth-year option picked up because off-ball linebacker is roped in there with edge rushing linebacker. The fifth-year option is $22 million. So I think teams don't want to use their first-round pick on linebackers because the fifth-year option is next to impossible. You can't pay an off-ball linebacker $22 million. And by the time Jacob Rodriguez is going to be a fifth-year option, if he was a first-round pick, it might be $30 million. So that's probably why he fell. But still, he should have gone one of the first 2 or 3 picks of round 2. Just one of the best players in college football this past year. All right, let's quickly go through these. Take it forever. Caleb Douglas, wide receiver, Texas Tech. Major reach to me. I thought he was more of a 5th rounder. He's 6'3", ran 4.39, but doesn't look that great on film, doesn't play to that. He's not very quick in and out of his breaks, had some bad drops. He's got talent, no doubt about it, but I think you could have had him around later. God, another tight end reach in day 2. Will Kakmarek, God, I probably said that wrong. Tight end from Ohio State. This is the theme of the draft. Good blocker, inline tight end. Not much of a receiver at this point, but you can find tight ends like that in the 5th round. Just another major reach for the Dolphins. Chris Bell, wide receiver, Louisville. He would have gone much higher in this if he didn't tear his ACL. Probably a top 50 player. He's a gadget type, meaning you can play him in the backfield, play him in the slot, play him outside. You can even give him some running plays because he's like 6'1", 222, really unique size for a wide receiver. He's great after the catch. He's got good contact balance. He's just not a great separator, but he's a much better prospect than Caleb Douglas, and you got him 19 picks later. So that was a really good pick. Then Trey Moore, edge, Texas. Surprised he was drafted here. Thought he was a late round flyer. He can play edge or off ball. Maybe that's why they took him here, because he's versatile, but he's really small for an edge. He's got short arms, so probably special teamer only. Kyle Lewis, linebacker, Pittsburgh. I like the value here. He is really undersized. That's why he didn't go in the third round, fell to the fourth. But maybe he can be your starting weak side linebacker. Maybe even ask him to slim down 10 or 15 pounds and play him at safety, because he's very good in coverage. Okay, round 5, Michael Taffe. I don't know if that's correctly. Safety, Texas. Probably a back end or free safety only. He's undersized with short arms, but he's a very good tackler. So at worst, he's probably a core special teamer. Another round 5 pick, Kevin Coleman, wide receiver, Missouri. He's a slot receiver only. Maybe he can return some kicks. He's very small. He's like 5'10", 179. The weird thing about Coleman is he did not get a lot of yards after catch. For an undersized receiver, 5'10", 179 pounds, with intriguing tools, you'd think he would be a really good yards after catch guy, and he's just not. He doesn't break any tackles, so I get why they took him here. Just thought he was more of a late round flyer because of that. Another 5th round pick, Seydou Traore, tight end, Mississippi State. By the way, Coleman and Traore were the 2 picks they got from moving down, so not great value for either one in my opinion. I didn't think he'd be drafted, Traore. He's very raw. He's not played a lot of football. Thought he's more of a priority free agent. Only 233 pounds. He's a receiving tight end only, not much of a blocker. Just don't understand why he was drafted this high. I had 6 or 7, maybe more, tight ends higher on my board. So basically, you got Caden Proctor, Kevin Coleman, and Seydou Traore instead of Caleb Downs. Oh my God. Just awful, awful Dolphins. 6th round, DJ Campbell, guard, Texas. He's very experienced. I think he's a 3-year starter. But he's not very versatile. He's pretty much a guard-only prospect. Sets a strong anchor, better run blocker and pass blocker at this point. Probably just backs up at right guard. And then round 7, Jackson Kuwach, linebacker, Miami of Ohio. Not on my radar at all. Didn't really watch any film. But apparently he had a breakout season at Miami of Ohio, and he tested well. Likely special teams only. And then Max Llewellyn, edge, Iowa. That's decent value here. Some people thought he could go maybe 5th round. A lot of Iowa players outplay their draft position, so definitely worth a late round flyer. Not a ton of upside. He's got to get much stronger because he's not a speed rusher at all. So if he wants to be a backup edge rusher, he's got to get stronger. Okay, so overall, I think that was a terrible draft for Miami. I thought the Bills and Patriots did solid, not spectacular. And I think the Jets, for the most part, knocked it out of the park. So let me know in the comments. Who had the best draft in the AFC East? Who had the worst? I thought the Jets did the best. I thought the Dolphins did the worst. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Me and Mike, once again, Lights Out Podcast, every Tuesday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Link in the description. Check out these videos if you have not, and I'll see you in the next one.